Hello everyone, I am M. Tamil Chelvan, Assistant Professor of English from Government College of Engineering, Dharmaburi, Tamil Nadu. Today we are going to see about relative classes. Let's begin. First of all, the definition. Relative class is a subordinate class which specifies or gives information about a person or thing. Relative classes come after a noun or pronoun and in English often begin with a relative pronoun such as who, which, or that. We can use relative classes to join two English sentences or to give more information about something. Let us see some examples. I bought a new car. It is very fast. Here we may find two sentences, and using the relative class we join these two sentences into a single sentence. I bought a car that is very fast. Here the word that is acting as a relative pronoun and it joins the two sentences. Next, I gifted the toy my son wanted for his birthday. I gifted the toy that my son wanted for his birthday. Here the two sentences are joined with the relative pronoun that. Now let us see some relative pronouns that we can use in this part. We may use these pronouns such as who, whom, whose, that, which, when. Who stands for person, and the uses of this pronoun is that it substitutes for subject nouns or pronouns he, she, we, and they. Whom, that stands for person, it substitutes for object nouns or pronouns him, her, us, and them. Whose, it stands for person or thing. It substitutes for possessive nouns or pronouns his, hers, ours, theirs. The next pronoun is that. It stands for person or thing. It can be used for either subject or object. It can only be used in defining classes. Next, which. It stands for things. The uses of this relative pronoun, it can be used for either subject or object, and it can be used in non-defining relative classes. When. It stands for things. It refers to a time expression. Types of relative classes. We have two types of relative classes. Number one, defining relative class, and number two, non-defining relative class. Let's see that in detail. Number one, defining relative class. A defining relative class tells which noun we are talking about. We do not write them with commas. Let's see some example. Yesterday I met a man. He works in the circus. Here in this sentence we have two sentences. Yesterday I met a man is a sentence. He works in the circus is another sentence. We join these two sentences or else clauses. As yesterday I met a man who works in the circus, or we may use that works in the circus. So here the phrase works in the circus that defines the man. It gives more information about the man. So this is referred to as a defining relative class. Let's find some more examples. We bought a house. The house is 200 years old. We bought a house which or that is 200 years old. In this we may use house is an object, so that we may use which or that. That can be used for person as well as a thing. This that is used in defining relative classes only. Number 2. His friend lives in London. His friend is a lawyer. His friend who or that is a lawyer lives in London. So here is a lawyer. That phrase lawyer gives more information about his friend. It defines the clause his friend is a lawyer, that it defines the word friend. So it is a defining relative class. Number 3. The book is very interesting. It is about Tamil culture. The book which or that is about Tamil culture is very interesting. So from these examples we come to know that defining relative class is used to give more information which are very much essential in a sentence. Let's see the second part. Non-defining relative class. A non-defining relative class gives us extra information about something. We don't need this information to understand the sentence. They must be written with commas. So this is a very important point that everyone should keep it in our mind, that when we are writing a non-defining relative class, we have to use that with commas. We don't use that in non-defining relative classes, so we need to use which if the pronoun refers to a thing, and who if it refers to a person. Unlike the defining relative class, in the non-defining relative class we don't use that. Some examples. Number 1. My boss is very nice. He lives in Goa. My boss, who is very nice, lives in Goa. Here you see in this sentence, who is very nice. That very nice is an extra information. So that qualifies the noun boss. It gives more information about the word boss, about the subject boss. Even if we leave that sentence without that class who is very nice, still the sentence gives us a complete meaning. My boss lives in Goa. So here in this sentence, who is very nice is an extra information. So this is a non-defining relative class, and you may find that it's being separated with commas. So these are the important rules in non-defining relative classes. Second example. Our English teacher wants to move to France. Her husband is from Paris. Our English teacher, whose husband is from Paris, wants to move to France. So here the word whose is used. Why? Because that refers to a person. Alright. The third sentence. The diamond necklace has been found by the police. It was stolen last week. Here we find two clauses, two sentences, and these two sentences are being clubbed into a single sentence using the relative pronoun which. The diamond necklace which was stolen last week has been found by the police. So here also we may find that the very important information is has been found by the police. So here, which was stolen last week, that's an extra information that adds with the noun, the diamond necklace, or as the subject. Fine. The very important differences between defining and non-defining relative clauses. Number one, used to provide essential information. So the defining relative clauses that are used to provide very important information. Non-defining relative clauses used to provide extra or non-essential information. Number two, no commas are used. So in the defining relative clauses we are not using any commas. Let's go back a little. You see, in these examples we are not using any commas. Yes. So in the non-defining relative clauses, commas are used to separate the relative clauses. You may find with these examples as commas are used to in the non-defining relative clauses. The third point, that can be directly used, that can replace who, whom and which. That can't be used, which can be used in place of that. So in defining relative clauses we use that directly, whereas in non-defining relative clauses we don't use that directly. Instead of that we use which or who. And we find some practice exercises. The employee dash in bracket we have when, which, who won the award, has been promoted. So we find three relative pronouns here, and which could be the apt relative pronoun, the employee. So the employee is a person. So automatically which could be the right relative pronoun that can be used here? Yes, the word who. Same way, the second sentence, he has climbed Mount Everest dash that or which or where is the highest mountain in the world. So this is a non-defining relative clause. How do we identify? Because we find a comma to separate, you see, right? So in that case, which could be the right answer, right option? Which. Number 3, this is the book dash where, why, that helped me understand English grammar. So this is a defining relative clause. You see, this is the book, so that we may use which could be the right word, that. This is the book that helped me understand English grammar. Number 4, I am looking for a store dash I can buy organic vegetables. We find 3 relative pronouns, where, why and that for this sentence. And here store, the noun or the subject we are having here is that store. Store is looking for a store, a place, right? So which could be the right relative pronoun? Where. I am looking for a store where I can buy organic vegetables. Number 5, Edgar Allan Poe dash wrote the famous poem The Raven, was born in Boston in 1809. So Edgar Allan Poe is a person. So automatically we use the word relative pronoun who for the famous poem The Raven. Yes, we may find the answers. The employee for that, the first one is who, the second one is which, third one is that. Yes, fourth one is looking for a store for that, where. Number 5, who. Yes, I hope you have learnt relative classes in a simple way. Thank you for watching. Bye everyone.